Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Terry Stiles. Could Oxford schools be better off financially than the first thought? And which Oxford man is on top of the world?
Stay tuned, learn more about these stories and others. The Oxford News begins right now. As reported by our very own John Ochins last week, according to officials, Oxford schools will have a $5.5 million surplus remaining in their general fund at the end of 2016. Superintendent Tim Throne said the growth was based upon money not spent from 2014-2015 funds and calculated increase in student enrollment for this year. The approved budget includes purchases of some new buses, maintenance, and repair funds for the school buildings.
There's a new Oxford Chamber of Commerce director in town, and her name is Nicole Sturrett. As a local girl who once owned and operated her own real estate appraisal business, the Chamber found Sturrett to be a great fit. A familiar face to the Oxford community, both as a volunteer for several local charities in support of the Oxford schools, Nicole said she intends to meet each and every business owner in Oxford and work to assist them with their success. Welcome, Nicole.
And lifelong residents Wes and Linda Douglas have been chosen as Grand Marshals for the 63rd Annual Leonard Strawberry Festival, the parade July 18th. Historically, the couple have been active members of the community. Linda served on the Village Planning Commission for 20 years and worked as deputy clerk for Addison Township. Wes spent 20 years serving the Addison Township Fire Department, was a fire board member, and volunteered on the Village Council for 20 years, where he once served as president. Congratulations to both from OCTV. We'll see you at the festival.
Paul Barr, owner of Oxford Yoga Studio and also one of our producers here, just checked off one of his lifetime goals by scaling Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania, Africa. At 6 a.m. on July 1st, Barr, with 14 members supporting his team, including 2 guides, reached the top of the single most highest independent mountain in the world. Congratulations, Paul, on whittling down your bucket list.
Oakland County Sheriff's deputies were called to an address at Somerville Road to check on a female resident. A caller told officers a woman living there was depressed and suspected she may be taking her own life. When police arrived, they found the woman had consumed a large quantity of pills and a bottle of wine. Officers found a note on the kitchen table telling family members what she was going to do. She agreed to be transported to the local hospital.
A scooter joyride ended up in an arrest for one Oxford resident this week. Following up on a citizen complaint of scooters in the street, officers found one of the riders had an outstanding arrest warrant issued out of Southfield. The young man was arrested and transported to Southfield.
Meyer Store Security caught a young lady stashing clothing and cell phone chargers in her purse this week. When she was turned over to the Oakland County officers, they found the girl had a cache of prescription medications in her purse as well. The girl was arrested and taken to Oakland County Jail.
A Brab Road resident was a victim of thievery this week after leaving her wallet in her car and leaving the car unlocked. The woman reported she found the car door opened and her wallet full of credit cards was missing. This continues to happen in our community, so please lock your car doors and do not leave any valuables in the car, especially anything that can be used for identity theft.
Deputies were called to a Manitou Lane residence on a complaint of theft from the home. The resident complained that while preparing barbecue ribs on her indoor stove and visiting with a neighbor on her outside deck, her dinner and stereo and house keys were all missing. She told officers the front screen door was unlocked and assumed that's where the thief entered the home. The apartment complex has outside surveillance cameras and police are viewing the video footage for more information. Well, you can't even have your dinner safe.
My gosh, your food gets stolen right out of your own home. That's a shame. And all the thievery that's going on, you know, it's so unnecessary. But good things are happening too.
Yeah, good news for the studio, huh?
Yes, we're really proud of ourselves this week.
As you know, we received an award, and I think through the help of the station manager, Bill Service, and of course all the hard work of all the people here. Received maybe, what is this, a 6th award?
That's our 6th award, 6 years in a row.
Yep, for support of veterans' causes. Some of the programs that we've done for example, John Oceans does a program, My Life, in which he reviews honest to goodness heroes from the war. And we have a lot of them in this area.
Such an interesting show to watch.
And there's a lot of other public interest things that affect the, the various military, ex-military people in this community.
We have the Post 108 is so active, and that helps a lot to keep us involved. There's just a lot going on in our community with the veterans.
Right.
So well, we're proud.
Understand that we competed with over 300 television stations in order to get this. And of course we had a great deal of support from the American Legion. 108.
And from what I understand, it's kind of giving the other stations, public access stations, a little kick in the pants, because some of them were not happy that we got it for the 6th year. And like CJ said, when are they going to start naming it after Bill Service? It should be the Bill Service Award, but of course I'm prejudiced.
Well, we all are.
Proud. We're
Bill does a great job.
Of OCTV.
Yes.
And
by the way, I think you put a lot of energy into this too, I have to say.
Thank you.
As executive director and producer here at the station.
Thank you.
So.
Well, I think we're a good team. We have a good team happening here. Come out and visit us. And we're just north of town, right next to the noise. They're charging an engine or something next door. But anytime, we're here from 10 to 6 o'clock basically, and stop by and see what we do here, and maybe we'll feature an interest in this community.
We just had a thing with the Chamber of Commerce here.
Yeah, that's right.
Last week. Donuts, coffee, all that kind of thing.
Nice to see them coming up here.
And I want to say too that the Oxford Leader newspaper have done a great job in terms of supporting the station as well.
Yeah, we should thank them.
Yep, and you can get more information by going to the Leader as well. So.
Well, that leads me into the nice segue. This is Oxford News This Week. If you want to learn more about these stories and others, stop by your local store and pick up a copy of the Oxford Leader newspaper, or better yet, catch us right here on OCTV Charter Channel 191, I said it right, and AT&T Channel 99.
And coming up next on OCTV, stay tuned for local sports with Jim Hughes. Catch Oxford News with John Ochins, School News, and Auto Talk and Science in the News with Dave Kinney.
I'm Terry Stiles, and this is Oxford News This Week, where your news is closer to home.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Remember, always be good to your friends and neighbors, and thanks for watching.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. In our first story, stare into a chameleon's goggly eyes and you may feel confused. Each of its eyes moves independently, so the lizard is privy to 2 views at once. But whether its brain processes information from each eye together or separately was unclear. Now, Hadis Keter Katz from the University of Haifa and her colleagues are investigating by baiting chameleons with pixelated prey. In some of the tests, the chameleons were in for a surprise. Once they had fixed their eyes on a graphical bug and locked their tongue in firing position, the prey would split in 2, each half headed in a different direction. Although a chameleon's eyes can track both parts, the fragmented bug caused a few seconds of confusion. But then they chose a single piece. By keeping one eye on target and pulling the other eye over to match the first eye's gaze, they would then shoot out their tongue. This suggests that a chameleon's brain can coordinate its eyes to help them decide what to focus on, even though they move independently. It's not the only trick the chameleons are capable of. They can also rapidly change color by rearranging tiny crystals in their skin that act like smart mirrors. They also seem to fine-tune their color to hide from specific predators. Smart little guys. In our next story, bonobos can be just as handy as chimpanzees. In fact, bonobos' tool-using abilities look a lot like those of early humans, suggesting that observing them could teach anthropologists about how our ancestors evolved such skills. Until now, bonobos have been more renowned for their free and easy sex lives than their abilities with tools. Well, they have never been seen to forage using wild tools or tools in the wild, although only a handful of wild populations have been studied because of political instability in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, where they live. As for those in captivity, Ida Rothman of Haifa University in Israel and his colleagues previously observed one captive bonobo called Kanzi using stone tools to crack open a log and extract food. However, it was possible that Kanzi was a lone genius raised by humans and taught sign language as well as once being shown how to use tools. To find out if other captive bonobos shared Kanzi's aptitude, Rothman's team looked at animals at a zoo in Germany and a bonobo sanctuary in, of all places, Iowa. The team gave them a series of problems that required tools to solve. For example, showing the bonobos that food was buried under rocks, then leaving a tray of potential aids such as sticks and antlers nearby. 2 of the 8 zoo animals and 4 of the 7 in the sanctuary made use of the tools, in some cases almost immediately. The bonobos used sticks, rocks, and antlers to dig, and also used long sticks as levers to move larger rocks out of the way. Some used different tools in sequence. In another task, 3 of the sanctuary animals used rocks as hammers to smash long bones and expose food hidden in the marrow cavity. Another cracked them neatly open lengthwise, a technique previously thought to be unique to the human lineage. One bonobo even sharpened a stick with her teeth to fashion a spear, something chimpanzees do to hunt bush babies, and then jabbed it at Rothman, who she may have thought she regarded as an intruder. The study shows that bonobos are capable of a wide range of tool use that puts them at least on a par with chimps, says Rothman. Their foraging techniques resembled those used by the earliest Stone Age humans in the Oldowan culture. Rothman suspects that once researchers study bonobos in the southern part of their range where food is harder to get, they may find that tool use is very common. If so, use in great apes may be older than we thought, reaching back at least 5 million years to the common ancestors of chimps, bonobos, and humans. And in space, well, a hiccup in the final days of New Horizons' decade-long journey to Pluto won't affect any important science results, NASA says. Mission controllers are in regular contact with the spacecraft as it nears its final approach on 14 July, but at 5:54 GMT on July 4th, it suddenly went silent. About 80 minutes later, the NASA tracking team at Tidbinbilla in Australia regained contact with the craft, which had gone into safe mode where it stops collecting data. Since it takes 4.5 hours for signals traveling at the speed of light to reach the craft, making 9 hours in total for the return journey, resuming normal operations was always going to take time. Later on, NASA revealed the fault wasn't a result of software or hardware on board, but rather some commands that were sent to the craft. The crucial science will be done as the craft passes Pluto in the future. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television, and we'll be right back.
You're watching OCTV.
I'm John Ochins, and welcome to the Oxford Wildcats School Update. It looks like the Oxford School District will have a new Assistant Superintendent of Business and Operations on August 3rd. Our school board passed this measure in its meeting last week. Sam Barna is his name, and he comes from the Dearborn District. Sam introduced himself.
I actually am a MSU Spartan, so maybe that doesn't bode well for some of you, but undergrad and grad school, both at MSU. My MBA is in finance. I worked in several different industries. I worked for a little over 5 years in corporate finance at DTE Energy. Then I moved along to another industry, obviously healthcare. I worked for Beaumont Health System for approximately 7 years in a variety of finance and operating roles, and spent a little bit of time in insurance with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan in corporate finance. And then obviously finally, as I mentioned to you, I joined Dearborn Schools approximately 3 years ago.
Sam replaces Pamela Anstey, who resigned in the midst of some controversy last spring. Mike Dixon has been a paid consultant to fill the position since then. This is the year of strategic planning for our district. It's also time for our district improvement plan. Assistant Superintendent Ken Weaver got into that at the board meeting and explained how it goes.
The district improvement plan. Now, the district improvement plan is a compilation of the building improvement plans. Each building does their own school improvement plan and has their own building improvement team, which usually consists of the principal, some teachers, maybe some paras, parents should be involved, but as a former building principal, I can tell you that's always the hardest one to get. You can get sometimes parents to be involved in it, they'll be involved for a little bit, but because of the nature of the plan and the discussions, I have found that parents many times feel a little overwhelmed. They don't understand everything. The education jargon gets to be a bit overwhelming, and they just don't feel like they're being very productive in it. So a lot of times they withdraw from it. They're a little intimidated. So it's really hard. I mean, we've tried everything, trying to do everything we can to get their involvement in the district improvement team or the school improvement team, but it just doesn't necessarily happen all the time. So sometimes, and we're not unique in this, but a lot of times you don't see a lot of parents serving on they'll be the PTO members, they'll sit in for a meeting and therefore they have their name attached to it and so forth.
Ken also relayed that there will be some governmental follow-up to this process.
No, next year is an an external review year, which means advanced ed, which is the accreditation body that governs our accreditation, will be coming out to visit us, so it's a big year. They come through and they're going to want to see a lot of our documents, evidence that we've been doing school improvement, that we've been meeting and discussing things, and what we've been working on PD and all of those things, and that we're looking at student results. But the main thing is that they're going to want to walk around and they're going to want to talk to teachers, and they're going to want to talk to staff and students, and they're going to want to see if we understand and everybody has a very good understanding of the school improvement, the direction, and the mission and vision of the district.
Our new superintendent, Tim Throne, had a follow-up comment on our special development plan for the year.
One of the additional things that you were given is the professional development plan for the year. And I can remember the day, and I won't point any fingers to point out the guilty, but I can remember the day of being at our welcome back to school administrator meetings, and the principal spending a lot of time determining what they're going to do that year for PD. This is where being more laser focused about what are the areas we want to improve, how we're going to get there, and saying, okay, if that's our area of target, then we need X amount of days in order to improve instruction in this area, and reserving, planning for that. And I just want to say, I think this is like the best PD plan I've seen before the start of the school year, and this is like July. And so just good work, and we're going to start seeing more and more of these types of things of really being focused and planning a lot better for what's to come.
Superintendent Tim Throne. That's the Oxford School News for this week. Stay tuned for Dave Kenny and Elgin Nichols. This is Oxford Community Television, keeping it local.
And welcome back to Oxford News this week. Hope you're doing well wherever you are. Again, as I say, during the summer months, obviously we don't concentrate on Oxford sports. We'll be doing that coming up in the fall. Hopefully maybe get an interview with our own coach, Bud Rowley. Hey, the 7th FIFA World Cup ended with a record-breaking style. The 24 teams lining up for the first time in competition history ended on a similar momentous note as the USA became the first nation to lift the trophy 3 times. Just for good measure, Canada 2015 also yielded an all-time high of 112 goals, one more than the previous best set by Germany back in 2011. The tournament ended suitably spectacular. Notes to the Stars and Stripes. They swamped defending championships Japan by a score of 5-2. The contest was effectively over in 16 minutes by the time the Americans had surged into a 4-0 lead, 3 goals coming from Carly Lloyd. It was appropriate for the 32-year-old midfielder to actually score those goals for the USA. It was Lloyd who missed a penalty shot back in 2011 when they faced Germany. It was a final between the same two sides, which ended with celebrating their first world title. She and 13 other members of the USA squad were on duty that fateful night in Frankfurt to defeat the now avenged Style, awarded the Adidas Golden Ball as Tournament Most Outstanding Player. Lloyd later described her side and performance as historic, while goalkeeper Hope Solo said it was the greatest moment of her career. The 7-goal encounter was the highest scoring final in history of the competition and drew an enthusiastic response from USA President Barack Obama, who actually tweeted his congratulations out. What a win for the Team USA. Great game, Carly Lloyd. Your country is proud of you. Come to the White House. Please bring the World Cup soon. And another story about, it's the New England Patriots quarterback has been suspended, and report Ted Wells found Brady was probably at least generally aware that his team's football was deliberately underinflated. For the AFC Championship game back on January 18th, the Patriots won the game 45-7. Commissioner Roger Goodell of the NFL chose to personally oversee the appeal process, despite Brady's camp having objections. The hearing allows Brady a chance to present the information that could convince Goodell to reduce and nullify the 10-game suspension. A 4-page letter from the Union Counsel, Tom DeMasso, reveals the main points of Brady's appeal. According to the letter, Brady's counsel will contend that Goodell violated the league's collective bargaining agreement by delegating authority to Troy Vincent, the NFL executive vice president of Brady's former teammate, a hand-down of Brady's punishment. Additionally, Brady's counsel plans to argue that the penalties for Brady are grossly inconsistent with the league's past discipline of similar alleged conduct. Brady's counsel will also detail that Wells' report grasped at dubious, contradictory, and mischaracterized circumstantial evidence. The $1 million fine and the 2 draft picks were the penalties assessed on the Patriots. As for now, Tom Brady had his 10-day suspension reduced to 4. Unlike the underinflated football, the story has more air, and time will tell how it plays out. Owner of the Patriots, Robert Kraft, says the Patriots just want to move on and will accept their penalty. Right now in a segment we'd like to call, Hey, It's Summer. Let's talk to Rod.
Well, hey girls. Boy, this game's going quick. I got Maria Rabb, right? No, I got Anna Berta.
Yes.
You're pitching. Good job today.
Thank you.
And Kirsten Erke.
Yep.
Man, you've had like 3 hits and 3 RBIs, 2 runs. You're doing great today.
Thank you.
Very good. You're pitching very well. How long you been pitching?
I just started this year.
Really? Keep it up. I'll tell you what. They can always use pitchers. I'll tell you. You're doing good.
Thank you.
We got good pitchers in Oxford. You know that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever go to the Max and work out?
Yes, I do sometimes.
See, that's it right there. You went to Mickey's place. You do too?
Yep.
You go there and hit? See, it's showing. It's showing, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, girls? I think you're going to be on deck pretty soon. I have to let you go. Is that Maria up now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is she up or is she on deck?
No, she's on deck.
Okay,
I'm
she's
up
on.
next.
You're up. You're on double deck. Well, I don't want to break your concentration, so I'll let you go. They only have 8 girls on the team, so we got to do quick interviews. So, all right, thanks, girls.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
Yeah.
Great job today. All right.
Yeah.
Coming back, what a great interview with Rod Wright. Hope you guys enjoyed that. And we have a sports figure at one time and was able to transfer into the movie career of sorts, I guess. Able to work along the sides of Tom Hanks in the movie Castaway. We have Wilson here today. Welcome, Wilson. I'm honored to have you here today, and hopefully you'll enjoy your time here at Oxford and OCTV. I know you are on a time frame and you don't have much time, so we won't keep you. I guess a few questions right off the bat. Have you ever worked with Mr. Hanks in anything else? Oh, okay. You were an extra in Forrest Gump. Okay. Did you do your own stunts? Okay, that was you in the scene where you were separated from the raft and you did your own stuff. Okay, good stuff. Not bad. Did you watch the World Cup with the ladies? No, I know volleyball. I know your volleyball was your sport. Yeah. Okay, well, it's been great having you here. You're really a talker. Thanks for coming to OCTV. Fall sports is coming up, so we'll have more. Just a reminder, all the programs you see on OCTV can easily be viewed online on your personal device. Go to OCCTV.org, hit the programs tab, or hit YouTube, and you can watch any of our programming on demand on your computer, iPad, or wherever you choose to watch whenever you want. Catch all the sports again and programs on the weekends. The sporting programs and school programs air on Saturday and Sundays between 1 and 6 or at OCCTV.org. For myself, Wilson, and the entire gang here at OCTV, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of what you got left in the summer. If you see Rod right out there, make sure to stop by. Maybe you'll be on OCTV. Saw a great team perform down at the Comerica Park this past week. Saw the Rolling Stones. I know it's not baseball, but hey, for some 70-year-old guys, they still knock it out of the park. Anyways, that's going to wrap it for me. Me and Wilson are probably going to talk some more. Have a good day, everybody.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication Automotive News. In our first story, Ford Motor Company says its Michigan assembly plant will stop building the Focus and C-Max in 2018, and a sign that the automaker sees slow demand for small cars to continue into the foreseeable future. Ford did not say where it would move Focus and C-Max assembly or which vehicles would replace them at the plant in Wayne, Michigan. Both the Focus and C-Max are due to be redesigned for the 2018 model year. The news comes several weeks after Ford began the process of eliminating the plant's third shift and cutting about 700 jobs there. Ford currently builds the Focus in 9 plants on 4 continents, including 2 in China, and it was the top-selling nameplate in the world in 2013 with sales of nearly 1.1 million. Because Michigan Assembly is one of Ford's only U.S. plants with any significant excess capacity, the announcement likely means they are headed to Mexico or overseas. Ford already builds its smaller car, the Fiesta, in Cuautitlan, Mexico. Focus sales fell 16% in June and 3.2% in the first half of 2015, and C-Max sales are down 17% this year. And on the technology front, while the auto industry and government agencies dither over standards for a fast vehicle-to-infrastructure wireless communication network that could warn drivers of impending danger, along comes a simple Silicon Valley workaround. Google, responding to a call from the Federal Railroad Administration to help reduce the occurrence of train versus car crashes, has agreed to work with the agency to pinpoint nearly every one of the nation's 250,000 railroad-grade crossings and integrate the data into Google Maps smartphone app that many drivers routinely use for navigation, according to a New York Times report. But no timeline was announced, however. When drivers use the turn-by-turn navigation feature, Google's app would send them an audio and visual alert that a rail crossing is coming up. The agency is calling on other providers of navigation maps to build in such alerts as well. We have some really good data on these crossings, Sarah Feinberg, the Federal Railroad Administration's acting administrator and former Facebook communications executive, told the Times. But we have to put the data where people can use it. The agency said 94% of accidents at rail crossings were due to driver inattention and error. In many instances, the Times reported there are no gates or blinking lights to warn drivers of an oncoming train, only a sign marking the crossing. Eeks! And at Chevrolet is beating the heat this summer by rolling out a phone cooling system in select 2016 models. The new feature, which Chevrolet has dubbed Active Phone Cooling, uses an air vent connected to the vehicle's air conditioning and ventilation system to cool the wireless phone charging bin in the center console. It's a standard feature of the option wireless charging dock. Most smartphones avoid overheating by shutting off or pausing charging, which could render Chevrolet's wireless charging bin useless when cabin temperatures are higher than normal. Chevrolet engineers developed the phone cooling system after noticing temperature-related issues during wireless charging testing. The feature will first appear in the wireless charging-equipped 2016 Impala this summer, and it will also be in the 2016 Malibu, Volt, and Cruise. Wow. And on the recall front, General Motors is recalling nearly 200,000 older model Hummer SUVs, mainly in the United States, to fix problems that have led to 3 people being burned, the company said July 8th. In a separate recall, over 50,700 newer model Chevrolet Spark subcompacts will be recalled because of a software problem may cause safety warnings not to work, GM said. Fires linked to heating, cooling, and ventilation systems in Hummer SUVs caused what GM called minor burns to 3 people. Models recalled include the Hummer H3 from 2006 to 2010 model years and the Hummer HT3 from 2009 to 2010 model years. 2 of the 3 Hummer models in which people sustained burns were destroyed by fire, GM said. There are 196,379 of the Hummer vehicles to be recalled, and of those, over 164,900 are in the United States, with most of the remainder in Canada and Mexico. Chevrolet Sparks from the 2014 and 2015 model years were recalled because radio software can malfunction while using the OnStar navigation system. This can cause the radio display to go blank and disable safety warnings, including a key left in the ignition or that the driver has not fastened a seatbelt. No injuries or crashes have been reported linked to the issues in the Spark, and most of the Spark cars recalled are in the United States and about 4,600 in Canada. Well, that's all for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and as always, may the wind be at your back as you cruise down life's highway. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television, and we'll be right back.